So I didn't get promoted for that. So when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to open up my own thing. I talked about it a little too much to people thought I could trust, who were my friends, but whatever. I thought were my friends at the time I was younger. Um, and then they try to get me fired.
I'm so glad you could make it. Sit down, sit down. Oh, yeah. Oh, the band is gonna be awesome tonight. I dig it. I'm so glad you could make it.
Telling real stories about their beauty industry journey. Today's guest is a luxury extension and natural hair care specialist who recently launched her own line of textured hair extensions. Christina has entered the chat. Welcome, Christina.
Hello.
Hey. Thanks for accepting my invitation. So before we get started, my audience always just likes to know who they're dealing with. So if you would just give us an insight into who you are and kind of what shaped you into the stylist you are today.
Oh, okay. I'm Christina. I am a 17-year stylist at this point. I've been doing hair my whole life. What shaped me into the stylist I am today, I would say, is my love for hair. I love doing hair. I love working with my clients. I love the creative aspect around it. So I guess my career, if you were to look at it, kind of took its journey based off of different things I wanted to learn from different people, different areas, stuff like that, just to give a better client experience and just do what I love. So that's kind of made me who I am today. And yeah, I work in Tampa now. I do hair in Tampa. I do primarily natural hair. I think all my clients are natural. I don't think any of them have relaxers. And then I do extensions, updos, stuff like that. The color, yeah.
Are you in a suite or are you in a salon?
I'm in a salon, so that's a long
Okay.
story.
Okay.
But I just moved back from Atlanta, so right now I'm in a salon until I open up my space.
We're going to circle back to that. Before we get there, did you always want to be a hairstylist?
Yeah, from like childhood, like 5. I've always wanted to do hair. I knew I was going to grow up and do hair.
How did you know?
I just love it. Like I played with my dolls all the time, and I was always trying to cut their hair and do something different. And I was like, I just want to do this forever. My mom's like, well, it's a career. And I was like, I can get paid and do this. So ever since I knew I could make money and do this, like I was like, that's it for me. It's what I love.
And was your family supportive of you pursuing cosmetology?
Yeah, they were pretty supportive. They liked the fact that it was a short course and I'd get, I'd have a career, and they were cool with it. Some of their friends, like, they were like, oh, you're not going to make any money doing it. Are you sure you don't want to go to college? Are you sure you don't want to do this? But my parents, they knew I loved it, and they just knew it was like inevitable. Like, okay, she's been doing this forever. So, she's going to go through with this.
Yeah. Okay, so I know you shared with me that you grew up in a very sheltered, kind of religious household.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmetology had to be kind of a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
Like the hair industry, I always say, like, it's as close to being a rock star as you can get without being anything. So talk about your beauty school journey and kind of what was that like? Because you come in here, you're this sheltered kid who was like homeschooled, and now you're being thrown into this career that you love and want to pursue. Talk about your beauty industry journey and what was that like, and like maybe some lessons that you learned while you were there.
It was a huge shock because I definitely was sheltered, homeschooled. Our parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so I didn't do holidays. I didn't do nothing. So going to hair school, it was, well, first, I thought everyone in hair school was gonna like love doing hair, right? I thought everybody was like into it like I was. So going there and realizing like the school I went to, a lot of kids that went there, their parents put them in there because they needed something to do now that they're out of high school. And they had a lot of money and stuff like that. So like seeing people not really put that first was a little different because I was like, dang, I thought we were all gonna be up in here focused on school. Like I was so excited to be there, you know. So seeing that was kind of different. And then yeah, everybody's rock stars. You know, people are doing drugs and drinking and like all kind of stuff is going on. And I'm just like, what? And I was 17 at the time too, so I was real young. I graduated high school early, so it was all a culture shock to me. But I loved it. I mean, I loved every minute of the experience. It was, I grew a lot. I realized I had to be focused because it was a culture shock. It was intriguing, and I'm like, I kind of want to skip school with y'all today. I kind of want to go. You know, I had never done anything like that before, so we did skip school one day and we got caught and kicked out the day. They kicked us out for the day and that was it. I was like, all right, Christina, you can get distracted and be doing this stuff, or you could focus and finish school and do what you love and have fun later. So that took a little bit of discipline to like stay focused.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you were in beauty school, what was your wildest cosmetology career dream?
Wildest dream? I mean, I'm living a lot of them. I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like it's. I mean, I'm in a lot of it. Doing photo shoots was like a dream. Working fashion shows was a dream. The biggest thing probably opening my own space exactly how I want it to be. You know, but I'm en route. You know, to doing that. Having my work in magazines, like doing famous people, like you know a lot of stuff I mean, now that I'm at this age, I'm like, dang, I've actually achieved a lot of my childhood and cosmetology dreams. Traveling for hair, I got to do that as well. That was, because I was like, that's got to be a lot of work, you know, but I did it. So, yeah, I would say like where I am right now in my career is that for me.
Okay. And I know that, so you kind of touched on it a little bit ago that, wait, you live in Tampa currently and you were raised in Tampa?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But at some point you moved to Atlanta, which I now live in South Metro Atlanta. I've been here for 3 years, and I remember moving here and feeling like, to me, Atlanta is like the mecca for Black hair.
Oh yeah.
So what kind of share with us, I guess, like what was your thought process leaving Tampa, moving to Atlanta, and then now you're back in Tampa. So I guess just kind of share that process and like what was behind the move to get there, and then what made you move home.
So Atlanta was one of my dreams too, and I should have started with that. So that was one of my big dreams, getting to Atlanta. I had visited a friend when I was like right around hair school time, and she lived in Atlanta, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And she's like, oh, you know how much hair stuff is there? I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know Atlanta was the mecca of hair. So I kind of got like introduced to that, and I was like, okay, I'm coming back here. So I graduated. I never made it back at the time I thought I was, but me and my husband, we had decided to move to Augusta because I was in Tampa and I'm like, I had a suite, I was making money, like everything was good, but I just felt like I could learn more. Like I could do more with this, you know, and I really want to experience what it's like to like work in Atlanta or near there. Like I was just trying to get to the area. So we had moved to Augusta and I started working in Augusta and I was like, okay, this is a nice change, but it still wasn't giving me that challenge that I really felt like I needed to grow. So I talked to my husband. I was like, hey, I kind of want to go to Atlanta. You know, I want to go out there. I want to learn new things and do this and that. So anyways, a lot happened in between that space of me talking to him about it versus me actually getting up and going because we had our issues and I was like, I need to go take care of myself and I need to go. So I wound up just up and moving to Atlanta, like with a month's notice.
Without your husband?
Yes, without my husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it was more to the story, like, you know, relationship wise.
But you guys are still together today.
We're back.
I'm sorry.
So we're back.
Yes. Okay.
But that's
I love a good love story, girl. Okay.
During the time, it was like, it was a little sticky.
Yeah.
So,
and you were a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were both growing. It was just a time, like, it was just like, I think we both needed that, honestly, looking back at it. But, yeah, I was like, I gotta go. And it was awesome, but it was hard. Like, Atlanta is, you gotta be on your grind out there. Like, you gotta get to everything, you know? And I was ready for that. I ain't gonna lie. Cause even though I was really sad to like take that step away in that time of my life, I was ready to give it everything I had. Cause I was like, if I'm gonna do all this, I'm about to go hard, you know? So Atlanta was awesome. It was actually, I was supposed to make that my 5-year plan. I wanted to learn more about like running a commission salon and like the goals that I had for myself. I had done a lot of stuff on my own and doing my own research. I hadn't really like immersed myself around people that could teach me these things and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was the plan until I went there, and I was there for about a year, and I have daughters too. And I was just like, I don't know if this is where I want to, you know, raise my kids fully, you know, just because of the areas. And it was just so much. I was like, I got 2 little girls. They love their school, you know, like they missed Florida. They missed home. Like, we're from Florida. So they were like missing home. Augusta was cool, but it wasn't nothing going on out there. So a lot of the decision was my family and my kids, like especially my kids. And everything I learned in Atlanta, I wanted to bring back home. Cause I was like, I'm from Tampa and we have so much potential, you know, and we have like my whole clientele is Black, like, but we don't have luxury experiences like we have in Atlanta. And Atlanta has some nice luxury salons, you know, and I was working on one. So I was like, we got to bring this down here to Tampa. Like, and I love my clients. I love my clientele. So I was like, I want to give them this. So that's kind of like the transition, the full circle. You know, when I came back down here, me and my husband, before I got here, I stopped in Augusta. Stopped there first, and we wound up working on our situation, talking things through. So that's how we kind of got back together. But we're here now in Florida, and it's awesome. You know, yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
I love it. So when you were in Atlanta, you were in a salon or you were in a suite?
I was in Salon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like? Like just one salon, or did you work in more than one salon?
Just one. Yeah, I worked in one salon in Atlanta. It was good. It was beautiful salon. It was a nice space. I learned a lot there. Like, I learned way more about luxury services than I knew going in. Like, I wasn't steaming people's hair, and like I took care of my clients' hair, but I didn't give that whole experience. I learned more about how to conduct myself, like fashion wise, like how to dress nice, show for the job. Like, I learned stuff like that. Content, that was a lot. Because they were on me like, record your content, and I was like, I just like doing hair. I don't want to do all that. And now like my work is really good, so I was like, I'm kind of glad they pushed me, because I learned how to do content and tap into my creativity, which opened up a whole new like exciting part of my life. So that was cool. It was hard. I ain't gonna lie, it was very hard working for someone. I spent the prior 8 years with my own business. So in Tampa, I had my own thing, my own suite for like, I think it was about 8 years. I was not used to working under someone and a newer stylist. That was a little hard, because I'm like, but I think things should be done like, you know, or this don't make no sense. And then they looking at you like, girl, you know. So that was a challenge. That was a challenge. But yeah, and it didn't really end the best either, which kind of sucked. Because it was such a good experience at the same time, you know, but that's part of the industry sometimes, like when you start to move around and stuff. So yeah. But
it's interesting to me that they were pushing your content, because your content, I don't remember exactly how you came across my timeline, but I know I'm a lurker. I'm so bad at social media. First of all, I'm an old lady, so social media is not really a thing. I told you before we got on, I have grandchildren. So I like to get on and look at the things, and then I forget sometimes to comment. When I remember, like, I'll like it. Sometimes I'll comment. But a lot of times I'm just looking, I'm just scrolling and I'm just looking, and your content is like some of my favorite. So I find it interesting that that's not something that you do naturally, because it's so good.
Thank you.
It's
Oh my
so
God.
good.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. It's a lot.
It's so good. You do a great job. So if no one's told you today, you do a great job with your content. And so I guess we'll stay in the content for a minute, because your most recent post was kind of an ode to the 90s. How old are you? What year were you born?
I'm 35. I was born in 89. I just made it.
Okay. You grew up in the 90s. You're the same age as my little sister. Well, no, she was born in 80. I take that back. But still, like, kind of like a little sister. So you were a little baby in the 90s. But your post, your most recent several posts, was kind of an ode to the 90s and that whole style. And of course, I was coming of age in the 90s. Like, I was in the club in the 90s. Talk a little bit about, like, your fashion inspirations and, like, when you're doing, because your photo shoots are my favorite. So I guess talk a bit about, like, your branding and how you came to understand branding as it relates to hair, because that was not a thing when I was in cosmetology school, and I feel like it should be a thing in cosmetology school now. Talking about branding from day one. And I still have yet to do a photo shoot, but I am intrigued by them. And so how do you put together a photo shoot from, like, the concept to actually seeing it visually and posting those pictures? Like, what's that process like?
Let me think. What do I do? I mean, I've done about 3 photo shoots on my own from my brand. I'm very just like how I feel in that moment. And I will say, like, the 90s one has felt the truest to my spirit. Like, the first one was high end, high fashion. I was at that age in my life, I was just into that. So, I was on that. And the second one was more spiritual. I was in a very spiritual part of my life, and it was more like holistic. So whatever mode I'm in, that's kind of what triggers the creativity. So as far as the 90s goes, growing up, I was young, but my mom was, like, heavy into my grandmother, the fashion, like the jewelry, like Erykah Badu, like the neo soul, everything. Like, that was what I grew up. My dad was a DJ, so they're very into music and stuff like that. So growing up, it's just always been around me, and it's been my vibe. Like, it's what makes me happy. And I was like, I wanted, for this OG hair, I wanted the brand to represent who I am, like, and for the girls that are into that, like, because you can be into the 90s and stuff and be into high-end luxury and, still be, just be that girl. And I feel like that's what started the trends, that, like, if you could see, even now, like, we're starting to wear the jewelry again, and we're starting to, do the hairstyles and the updos and, like, all that stuff, because it really, I feel like it was a big foundation of the beauty industry, so when I did my photo shoot, I thought about what I would want to see, what people haven't seen in a while. I thought about I thought about, those in the old school hair salons where they have the pictures on the wall of all the girls with the different styles. I wanted that look, but new age, like they're posing their little side profiles and their little hairstyle, but something that one of us could wear out to go out to the club or out to, dinner. We would still wear that look. So I kind of wanted to merge the two. So that's how I came up with the hairstyles. The fashion was pretty simple, kind of, because we're still wearing those styles, but putting that together with the luxury look, but with the nails, like the nails. I told her, I was like, I want the nails to be, 90s long designs, to kind of give the edge and the softness of that time period. Because then we had, like, Black Hollywood and Tyra Banks and, like, Hillary Banks off of what's that show called?
Hillary Banks.
Yeah, Hillary Banks.
Real name.
Yeah, so her, we had that fashion too. So that's when I was doing the photo shoot, I wanted to merge the two. My sister-in-law helped me with it completely. I would say that, like, I told her, hey, this is what's going on in my brain. Help me put this on paper. Like, help me put this down because I can feel it. But she's like, oh, okay, well, you got to mix this color with this. And, you know, so it all kind of just worked out, you know.
Yeah. Where did you find your model?
I got 4 of them. So the first girl, I've been following her on Instagram and she doesn't even model. Yeah, I didn't even know. I just knew she had the look. And I was like, she's going to go on my content one of these days because she has this look, you know, and I knew for photo shoots what kind of look I kind of go for. She has the look, the face, and I'm like, do you model? She was like, no. I was like, I need you for this because you're going to, you know, it's going to come across good. And it did. And then the other 3, they model as well. So I know them from just working friend. And then the other person was recommended to me. So. And then I sought out the photographer. I did work with the photographer before, but I knew, so when I choose a photographer, I have to think of like the lighting and the vibes that I want because not everybody photographs the same. Some people are great outdoor photographers and some people are good black and white in studio. So I really look for someone who could photograph like black women well and show off their hair, who can edit hair well without making it look fake or without it looking frizzy, you know, who works with colors and lighting well. So that's kind of how I chose
Get our skin together.
Yes, because we could be washed out in some of these photos. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, to go back a little bit, this has nothing to do with nothing. But you mentioned 2 things that I find intriguing, and I just need to know more about it. So you mentioned that your parents were Jehovah's Witness. My husband grew up Jehovah's Witness, so I understand that. But your dad was a DJ, and so I'm curious, what songs what was your dad playing when you were growing up? What was it's Sunday morning, it's time to get up and clean the house.
So
what are you listening to?
In his defense, my father was a DJ before he became a Jehovah's Witness, so he became one later in life. But let me think. My dad so big on Michael Jackson. We had like a lot of Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, Janet. He did play Busta Rhymes because I learned Busta Rhymes from him, which is kind of, you know, Busta Rhymes got some stuff. What else was he playing? He played a lot of Spanish music. My father's Puerto Rican too. So my father played a lot of like, you know, the Spanish music salsa that was good back then. Mariah Carey. Who else? I'd probably say, I don't know, artists like that he was playing, but it still wasn't. Now, I didn't know rap music and stuff like that because even though he was, you know, a DJ and playing music, it was very censored in my house too. So there were certain things that we also was not listening to.
Yeah. Okay. And so even with growing up as sheltered as you were, like the 90s were still the 90s and you're still looking up and seeing all of this, even though you're not necessarily hearing all of the background noise behind it, you're in love with the looks.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Back to salon stuff. Have you ever worked in a toxic salon environment?
Yes.
Tell us about it. You don't have to say any names.
Okay.
Unless you want to. That's fine too.
I mean, I can give up.
But talk to us about working in a toxic salon environment. How long were you there? How did you leave? What are your takeaways?
Let me think of... I will say this. I can't say I worked in one toxic salon environment because I've worked in a lot of salons and the majority of my salon experiences, they were good until they weren't, right? So it was more of that. If I've ever stepped in a place and felt it was toxic from the beginning, I'm walking out. I'm just not, I don't care. Like I'm that type of person, but the salon experience, I will say as a whole, it was always like, it was good until I started excelling and I started, you know, wanting to grow in the salon. So whether I was in a salon where I was trying to move up to management or like stuff like that, You get that whole icing out, like where people don't want to talk to you at work, or you don't get clients anymore. Or I've worked in a space before I opened up my suite in Tampa. I was doing really good in that salon. I was bringing in clients. I was getting everything. I was making good sales, and there was goals we had to reach to be even qualify for like assistant manager. And I thought, okay, well, I want to do that. I was, a new mom. I was like, I need to make more money, blah, blah, blah. They would not promote me. And I was just like, who else is qualified? And not even in a cocky way, but I know what, there was only like 5 of us in there. Like, I'm like, I know what I'm giving here. So I didn't get promoted for that. So when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to open up my own thing. I talked about it a little too much to people thought I could trust, who were my friends, but whatever. I thought were my friends at the time. I was younger. And then they try to get me fired. And then, it's stuff like that, like try to sabotage. And I'm just like, wait, what? And thankfully that kind of, well, the person that went and told the management, he was wasn't the director. He didn't work at our salon. He was on corporate. He came in and sat me in the back room and was like, I heard you're leaving. Are you trying to leave? Because, they have to let you go. So this company, when they find out that you're leaving, they let you go. They don't want you to take your clients with you. So I just looked at him because I was scared. I didn't want to lie. And I was just like, yeah, I'm leaving. But he was like, it's cool. Just be careful who you tell your business to. He's like, because such and such try to get you fired. And I'm looking at him and he's like, and I'm no hater. So he was like, I'm going to give you some advice on how to open up your business. He sat with me for 2 hours and gave me this breakdown of, you need to have this in place. You need to have, and I was just like the whole time, like, oh my God, but right. Hold up, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I don't want you to say this person's name right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. But I want to talk more. Are you still in contact with this person?
On social media, yeah, on Instagram.
Yes, I want to talk to this person. So on the other line. I love that. That's so good.
Yes,
that's
yes.
So good.
That was very like, it motivated me. Like, I was like, all right, and I can be like that too. I saw that and I was like, you don't have to be a hater. Like, it's okay to let people grow if they want to grow and go in other directions. Like, what is that stopping? So, so I would say I've had experiences like that in a lot of salons, where growth became intimidating and then you start to get treated differently. And then the workplace just becomes like a drag to come into, and it's like, okay, what do I have to deal with today? Or I got to deal with nobody talking to me today. Or, one time I came in, like my whole day was wiped out. My books, like my appointments were wiped out for the day. They took all off. Like, to the point where I was like, yeah, I got to go. Because like, this is crazy. Like, when you're not doing things. So that toxic part I've experienced. But yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Let's talk about your extension line. So first, I always hear how you do have an extension line. I'm not making that up, right?
Yeah, I know you're not making it up.
Okay. Sometimes I'm doing research and I start getting my wires crossed. So I always hear that hair and extensions in particular is a really difficult space to enter in the beauty industry. So how were you able to make that happen? The first question is, how were you able to make that happen? And then the second question, I want to talk about different textures, because I just was telling one of the girls that I work with, because I'm still behind the chair part-time, I just was telling her how whoever comes up with a really solid, wavy, curly, kinky, like textured hair line is going to be a billionaire, because the market is there.
Yeah.
So how did you get into your own extension line? And then talk a little bit about the textures of hair and like kind of what your vision is for your extension line.
Okay. So how I got into it was probably when I moved to Atlanta, like mentally, because I've always been cool with doing hair. I never really cared to sell extensions, only because I felt like at that time it was oversaturated. I'm like, everybody's selling bundles. what am I gonna sell that's gonna be so different? Like in my mind, like that's how I was thinking. But when I went to Atlanta and I saw how much you can make when you provide your own hair, I was like, I'm tripping because this helps, you know? So,
Yeah.
and learning how to sell it and what kind of hair to look for, just, you know, visually feeling good quality hair and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I want, at least for my clients, like at minimum, I'm going to provide it for my clients. So that was my goal. When I came back here, I'm in the beginning stages of it. Like, I didn't, when I first moved back here, I didn't know where to start. I was just like, I don't, you know, so I really just buckled down and started doing research on the internet.
Okay.
I will say, like, I'm still, like, I'm in the beginning stages and I'm still trying to find better textures. I found a good, like, vendor that I'm like, okay, I would wear this and I would pay money for this. So that's kind of like where I'm starting. I'm always open to advice, by the way. But I was like, you know, this can color. It's good for my clients because it blends with their hair, not too much heat. Like, I'm thinking of if it was me, would I wear it? Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. So as far as like textures and stuff, because I do natural hair, kinky straight is like my go-to. Everybody knows like I'll recommend kinky straight any day because except for the silky hair girls, because kinky straight is good, especially living in Florida. We have a lot of humidity. So as soon as you walk outside, your edges are puffing up, your leave out's getting swole, you know. So thankfully the kinky hair kind of swells a little bit too from that flat iron state. So that's my go-to for my clients. I'm just, you know, trying to think of ways to like make everybody's life easier, you know, and actually give clients something that they need, something that they can enjoy, something that's not going to tangle up on them and stuff like that. And I've seen just with my own experience, when I have my clients bring their hair, they're paying for my services, but the hair quality is not good. And now they've spent this money with me and they're like, oh girl, my hair is tangling. I'm gonna have to trade out these bundles. And I'm feeling bad. Like, dang, if I provided, you know, hair for y'all, maybe this could prevent that experience, you know, with them. So yeah, I just started my line out. It's available to my clients in the salon, like if they book or if they want to come in to purchase it. I'm still working on getting it online because I know people out of state that are like, what's good hair? What's good hair? So I'm like, let me put this on here for y'all so, you know, you guys can get that too.
Yeah. I actually just sent someone to your website this past week because we were having the conversation about specifically extensions for textured hair. And I'm like, well, I just saw that she does, you know, yada, yada, yada. And then they went to your site and they went to your Instagram page and they're like, well, it's all straight, like the kinky straight. And I'm like, all right, well, just hang tight because I'm gonna talk to her in a couple days.
Oh yeah, no, it's not all kinky straight. Yeah, so I have one that's called OG Wave, and that's like a natural wave. So it's more for you girls that have like that I don't want to say like they have finer hair, right? So it's like they're natural, but they have finer natural hair. So that's a better blend. Curly, I have Burmese curly, I have kinky curly. And I'm still expanding. I just started with those to, you know, I thought of like, okay, what is the most requested and what do people need?
Yeah.
I like the Burmese curly. I just started working with that hair. That it's really pretty because it blends in. You know, when you have mixed hair textures, sometimes kinky curly just don't look, it doesn't blend with all of your hair. So I like that Burmese because it kind of, like if you have heat damage, you can still blend it, you know, with that curly, or if you have like a uneven curl pattern. So yeah, that's what I have for now.
Okay. Have you ever wanted to quit the beauty industry?
A few times.
Okay.
Yesterday, no, I'm just kidding. I was like, Lord, why? But no. Yes, I have. Are you asking me what times? Okay. My first time was probably when I had my first daughter. And it was because I wasn't making any money. And I was like, I'm spending all these hours sitting in this salon waiting on people to walk in. And my baby's at home growing up without me. That was probably the first time. I felt very unfulfilled at that point in my life. And I went to college. I was like, I'm going to be a psychologist because I feel like I can make more money doing this and support my daughter. And I mean, I do that behind the chair anyways, but I was like, you know what? I can't give up what I love. So I pushed through that moment. I actually went to the Bronner Brothers hair show and got very inspired. That's when I opened my own business for the first time.
Okay.
It was like something has to change or I'm out. That's kind of, where I was.
Yeah.
And the second time was recently when I moved back from Augusta to Florida because I had everything set up to open my own spot in Florida. I was actually opening my own smaller salon, and we had been working on it, doing the flooring, painting, just, from another state. And it turned out like being inoperable the day before opening. Like there was mold and there was an animal in there. It was all kind of stuff. It was crazy. Yes. And we had spent so much time and money and energy in opening that. And I felt so defeated at that point. And I was just like, I quit. I was like, this is it. I'm done. And thankfully, my friends and my family and my clients were like, you're not quitting. They were on top of me about it. They were like,
you tried it.
You might need to go cry a little bit longer.
I'm gonna do my hair, girl.
I was like, you didn't do all that to give up.
They be distressed when we try to leave, don't they?
Distressed, like, what about me? But yeah, it was a hard time. So, but I got through that too. I got through that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it's your destiny.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. Okay, so we've reached the part where I call it story time with Auntie Hair Coach. So I've got a couple 3 prompts here that I just want to hear a short story or a long story, however you're feeling.
Okay.
So the first prompt is, what is your favorite song lyric and why?
Oh man. I don't know if it's a lyric, but I just posted it yesterday. I love Erykah Badu. That's my girl.
I love Erykah Badu.
That's my girl. So when she says I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit, like that's all that pops in my head all the time. That is my favorite. Because it's like, I'll put out my art, but don't say nothing crazy about it, because
First of all, I will block you right now.
Right. Yeah.
Like, constructive feedback is fine, but don't do too much.
Exactly. Right.
Tell us about the most interesting place your career has taken you.
Let me think. I mean, shoot, Atlanta, anywhere. I'm thinking. I'm like, I mean, it might anywhere. My career has taken me places anywhere I can work with my hands. That's kind of how I see it. I was able to do hair in Korea. My husband he was in the army. We got stationed in Korea. My career didn't take me there, but I was able to work in South Korea while I was there and still be able to make money. There was a lot of military wives. They had the balls and they needed their updos and they needed their color and their cuts. So I was able to just continue what I'm doing and work out there, which was cool.
And I come from a military family, so I definitely relate to that as well. What's the licensing looking like? Like when you go to Korea to work, what's the licensing? How do you deal with the licensing as a military wife?
I have escaped every licensing there is known to man. I hate to say it, not in Tampa. I am licensed in Florida. I am licensed. Korea, I didn't get a license because I didn't work in a salon out there. I worked out my house. So I was able to skip that. Now they did try to report me. I'm not gonna lie. Like the military wives did not, like the ones that weren't working, they did not like that I was able to. I had people coming in and out getting hair done. So they were like, how is she able to make money and we can't do ours such and such? But there was nothing no one could do. They told because we lived on base. So they tried to tell the military police. They didn't do nothing. They were like, let that girl do her hair. So I couldn't tell you what the licensing was.
Okay.
I was like, I can't stop these hands.
You
We
have to,
got to
yeah.
do this. So, um,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell us about the first time you messed up someone's hair.
um, let's see. Huh. One time, I mean, I'm trying to think of which one because they're kind of funny. Uh, I think my husband no, he was the second person. Okay, so the first person, hair school. Um, I don't know what was up. So apparently, like, I guess I didn't learn at the time that if people were on certain type of medications, that their hair could pull color differently. And we were on the floor and we were toning someone's hair. She was a blonde. And I don't know if I failed to ask her if she was taking medications or she failed to tell us. I can't remember. All I know is I went to tone it and her hair started turning polka dots, like dark spots in her hair. And I was like, I pulled it through and I was like, whoa. So I got the teacher. Thankfully, we could fix it and it was fine. But that was like the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And it wasn't messed up that it wasn't repairable. Um, so yeah, that was that. My husband, one time I was cutting his hair with the clippers, the guard flew off, and I patched him. And we were just dating at the time. I was like, so are you okay with it going lower? Because this is what we got. Yeah.
That's all we got. My dad, I have been licensed for 28 years, and my dad to this day is like really funny acting about me cutting his hair behind something that happened in beauty school. So
really? Oh my
relatable,
gosh.
Yes, relatable girl.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they'll never forget it. They hold on to
it. Okay, so tell my listeners how they can follow your movement. They want to get some of this good OG hair addict textured hairline that's soon come. How can my listeners find you?
So my website is www.oghlux.com. I'm trying to remember because I'm switching websites now, so I'm like, let me give you
that.
HLUXE.com.
Okay.
My Instagram is OG Hair Addict. That's my personal page. And you can find the link through there. It's not online yet. I'm trying to have it up by the end of July. That's my goal, to have everything online. But yeah, you can find me that way and purchase it or come to Tampa, pick it up.
I love Tampa. I love Tampa. Tampa's amazing. So I'm kind of in and out of Tampa low key, like once a year at least, because the beaches in Tampa, I love them.
Yeah.
So
it's cool out here.
Thank you so much for taking time out to share time with me and share with my listeners about your journey. I appreciate you.
No problem.
And I will see you in the IG streets, girl.
All right, girl. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you could make it.
Next time on Therapy Sessions with Auntie Hair Coach.
So just imagine you have no boundaries, you're taking all these clients in, half of them you don't even like, you just, you know what I mean? It's just like you're just doing the job that you have assigned yourself to do. And then 2020 hits and bam, you are faced with this reality that any second your life may no longer like exists. And how do you want to live it for the rest of it?